Well, we had lots and lots of predictions as far as what could possibly be a score for Bangalore. I don't think we were quite banking on something under 160. Yes, it's a new surface, not quite sure which way to go. A little bit of extra bounce, but overall, it still appeared as if there was enough runs to be had. They had a decent start despite the loss of Virat Kohli early on. And look at that. Rajat Patidar continued from where he left off. 100 in that first game, 58 of 42 today. But after that, absolutely nothing else. Maxwell looked good for a while. It was one of those quick short parties that he had in his head. Faf du Plessis, 25 of 27. And that was quite telling at that stage. Two bowlers who were absolutely outstanding, Obaid McCoy and Prasidh Krishna, keeping them down to 157 for 8. Here we are on Cricbuzz Live, halfway through this game, qualifier number 2 from Ahmedabad. I'm joined by Ajay Jadeja and Michael Vaughan. Michael, I'll come to you first. 2 redemption stories come to mind very quickly. Daniel Sams, smashed by Pat Cummins into oblivion, comes back after getting dropped and bowls a beauty for Mumbai and wins them a game. Prasidh Krishna, a couple of nights ago, 3 sixes of David Miller, comes back with an absolute dream spell.
Yeah, that's T20 cricket for you. One day you get pummeled to all parts, and the next day you've got to show some kind of belief in yourself. And he ran in hard. He gets the key wicket early, and to what was he going for? 3 for 22. It's a remarkable kind of comeback. That Yorker that he bowled to Hassan Ranga, that was quick, 147. Yeah, so that's what you look for in players. You look for them, going through an off day or two, and can they bounce back from it? Do they show any kind of character and belief in themselves? Well, he's showed a huge amount of belief, and I don't know what happened to the RCB team there. They were strolling themselves to 175 plus easily. If it had gone well, they'd have got to 190, and they just forgot the art of actually you need one player to stay in a bit longer. You need one player to bat around. You're right having firecrackers, but Maxi gets out as he does. Playing the expansive shot. Patidar again was excellent, but again he gets out at key time. DK can't do it every game. He has an off day. Just a bit of extra bounce. It's probably not as easy to hit as some of the other venues, but they just seem to lose the basics of what you require to get the big scores, and that's one player to bat pretty much the whole way through.
What would you put your finger on, Ajay? Was it a case of not adapting to brand new conditions that you haven't had so far?
Yeah, I mean, the way I see GB, I thought, the conditions were tough to start, in fact. I mean, I think the start on a pitch like this is probably tougher compared to all the other games that we've seen. And once they got through that, then I'm with Michael. I thought, they were cruising to 175, 80 at least. Maybe, only thing you could think is, they tried a bit too hard. They tried, going for it a bit too early. And the one man who was, at the crease, Patidar, was also, throwing everything very early. And sometimes what happens is it puts pressure on you if you have guys in the hut, especially DK, the way he's batted over the whole tournament, that, you want DK to bat last 4 overs, or you do want DK to come in at, 4-5 overs to go. And everyone else, whether Shabazz, who, did stay till the end. So for me, I think it was probably they went too hard because looking at the wicket at the start, I thought it would be tough to get to where they did at over number 10, but post that, then it should have got easier, but at the end they probably tried too hard or tried to get a lot more than what they could have got. You see that start. Your graphic shows you, 11 to 15 is almost 10 and over. And if it's the same wicket that you're playing on, it can't be the wicket that, did what you did right at the end, except that you went too hard. And you got to give credit to Prasidh Krishna and, the other bowlers for Rajasthan Royals, because they stuck to it and they believed that they could hold them back.
Yeah, it was a combination. The talisman, if you like, for the men in pink was Yuzvendra Chahal. He didn't quite deliver yet again. Ashwin did get the 1 wicket, but you'd have to look at that combination of Prasidh Krishna and Obaid McCoy. 45 runs, 6 wickets, 27 dot deliveries between them. And I think, Michael, to combine the 6 wickets that they took, sometimes you get a cheap wicket towards the end of the innings, but those 27 dot balls, I think, tell a bit of a story.
Yeah, absolutely. But just one little bit of a warning for Rajasthan. The spinners only got 1 wicket, so they're going to lose. They're knackered.
I like it. You were listening, Michael. Well done.
Oh, it's a different surface. It's a surface more for the pacers. It's got plenty of bounce and carry. I still don't think the RCB team are out of this game. with the likes of Hazelwood, Ashal Patel, skill there, particularly Hazelwood. Hazelwood knocks out Butler early, gets Sanju Samson. I'm sure they'll have to go on the attack. We'll see slips in place. We know Josh Hazelwood is a kind of bowler that if he can get one, he can get 2 and 3 quite quickly with a new ball. If Butler's still there at the end of the 6th over, he'll be in, he'll be set. I'm pretty sure that'll be game done and dusted. But if they can get a couple of early ones, which on this surface, as we saw, the RCB side, how they only lost 1 wicket in those first few overs, I'll never know, because the ball was flying to all parts in terms of in the air or past the outside edge. It's the kind of wicket that you could easily be 20 for 3 on. If Hazelwood gets it right, they could still get back in this game.
Yeah, but once again, I think to go back to that innings, Faf du Plessis looked as if he was just playing a game of wait and watch, and he finished with 25 of 27. But yet again, the stats we showed you at the start, if RCB lose an early wicket, it doesn't face Rajat Patidar. So it just shows that 2 innings before that, the 100 that he scored, and even his effort today, it was far from a 1 off or even a 2 off from him. That shows his consistency. Ajay?
Yeah, he batted beautifully. I mean, a couple of shots that he played when he walked in, the ball to it, Virat Kohli got out, extra bounce. He started with a cut shot over, he edged it, but it went over the slip. But then he played a couple of back foot drives. When you're doing well, you're getting runs, things go your way as well. I mean, he was dropped pretty early as well. We probably wouldn't have had that stat on had he been taken by Riyan Parago, who, claims to that he never drops anything, nothing goes to ground. Finally, one went to ground. This game is a great leveler. It, brings you back down on the ground. So, but I think he's batting beautifully. I mean, it's just wonderful to watch him, and it's effortless. It's timing. It's not power that he brings in, but he times the ball pretty well, and his timing's pretty well. I mean, he was let off at 14, 16, 18, maybe, then this graphic won't have worked, that when he walks in early, he gets a big score. So this game those numbers will keep changing, but one thing's for sure, he looks like a quality player, and I hope we, look after him and stick with him.
But at the end of the day, the efforts of him and a couple of cameos, we'll have to say, have got them to a total that we can't really tell at the moment. I mean, we usually like to judge a total at the end of the innings, but it certainly, on first observation, looks below par, 157. But, Michael, as you've mentioned, and we can reiterate that one more time, if we have a look at the bowling, Harshal Patel, Josh Hazelwood, Hasaranga as well, obviously, at some point, mainly because of the matchups against Butler, against Samson. But you reckon that even before the matchups with Hasaranga, it's the pace bowlers who are the key on this bouncy surface?
Yeah, you look at, Mohammad Siraj, he's just a tearaway. He just charges in and he whacks the pitch. He'll get plenty of bounce, bit of movement. We saw that one ball from Kristen that nipped back through the gate and went past the keeper. So there is movement out there. You have to fancy Rajasthan. They should be looking at this target and thinking they've done their job in the first innings. But these big games, the sun's shining in the UK once again through the window. I know it's surprising you, but it's happening again. Funny things happen in big games. When you're chasing a target, even though it's below par, those early wickets, a little bit of pressure starts to build. Then Hasaranga comes on and he nicks a wicket or two. The captain, Faf, is for me the best in the tournament in terms of tactically. I think he's a smart captain. And he'll work the system. He'll go on the attack early because he knows he'll need wickets, and he'll keep pressing them with fielders in. So I still think we're in for quite a tight game.
Yeah, and Ajay, if you can have bright sunshine in the UK, you can have Bangalore easily defending this, surely.
I don't know about easily whether they'll defend it, but yes, I'm with him because it's the first 5-6 overs. I think the burst from Hazelwood and Siraj right at the top, that would be the key to this game, because if they're not 2-3 down, then they should get to this total. Don't forget, they've got Harshal Patel at the end and Hasaranga, who can do a great job, but then they've got a fifth bowler problem. Not a problem. Shahbaz Ahmed's a pretty good, decent bowler, but he's not somebody that you'd worry on a wicket like this. So, between him and Glenn Maxwell, they generally tend to, use either of those two. They won't be a worry. The problem is if you only get a 1 wicket or, maybe have, 2 down and over number 6-7, then it'll be a choice. Where do you go? Do you go to Harshal Patel there and take a chance, or do you go to your fifth bowler and let the game drift away? That's where the pure five bowlers come in. At this score, if they had another seamer in their side, or a pure bowler, then you would say it would be a tough total to chase. But I think that's the only hope I look for Rajasthan Royal. One, they got to get lucky with the start. As Michael said, sometimes you nick, sometimes you get beaten. They would want to keep getting beaten. Score would not matter. It's the number of wickets in the first 6-7 overs that will decide the game for me.
Well, Michael Vaughan, I'm going to put you on the spot. At the start of the show, we were talking about, or we had an Ask Cricbuzz live question about Jos Buttler and how he's had two different kinds of innings, even when he scored heavily. Given the total they're chasing, given the surface that he's fielded on for 20 overs, which Buttler do you see coming out to bat?
I think we'll see a smart Buttler. I think a Buttler that'll give himself a chance. I don't think it's the kind of wicket that you can just go out and fire from ball one. I think it's a different surface because of the bounce. So I think it's worth the player just giving himself just 3 or 4 balls to get used to the bounce. Don't go expansive. If you get a bad ball, of course, climb into it, but just give yourself a little bit of a chance to get in. He generally knows in this side. I mean, Sanju's a great player, and Shimron Hetmeyers can strike a ball, but I think he's taken it on himself this year to try and get Rajasthan to the final. He's taken them this far. I'd be amazed if he plays really expansive too soon. I think he'll play a waiting game. I don't think he's concerned about the rate at all. But obviously, if the ball's in his art, particularly full, he'll take them down the ground.
Yeah, very different knowing what a target you've got, because if Buttler's actually batted first and played those wait and watch kind of games where you don't know what target you're setting and you still do it, now that he knows that it's a target that sort of seems within reach, it makes more sense, Ajay, for him to do that. And then you've got, of course, Yashasvi Jaiswal at the other end, who can go ballistic from ball one because he's used to that. That's his game.
Yeah, I think he'll go ballistic, or he'll take his chances. A young man probably doesn't have the same kind of pressure or expectation from even the side within that side. I mean, he's there playing a certain kind of role, so you'd want that. And if he gets off to a start, I mean, if he even if he nicks a few, flying over cover, flying over slips, and gets to 20-30, in that first power play, they'd be happy with that. But Buttler's the key. I mean, like he said, he'll play smartly. He'll do what is required. And like I answered in the morning as well, I don't care which Buttler turns up. As long as he's there in over number 16, Rajasthan will get home. So whether he's worried about the strike rate or whether he wants to go after a certain bowler, he'll have to be there. I think he holds the key. I mean, especially when the ball's seaming around and bouncing, Indian players are not as comfortable when it bounces and seams. Yes, players have got better over the years, but Buttler does them day in and day out. He's used to, seaming conditions. Probably he favors that rather than, spinning or turning conditions. So he'll have to play that role.
He'll also play that little ramp because of the pace.
And with the bounce, it's safer.
Yeah, there's 2 slips as well. There'll be a big gap, so don't be surprised if you see that little ramp early.
Yeah, it's become his trademark shot almost. It started so many years ago with Tilakratne Dilshan. It was named after him, but I think Buttler plays it slightly differently. So we can maybe give him credit with calling it the Buttler something. We'll give it a name. The Buttler backstop. The Buttler backstop. We'll find a good name for it by the end of the day. But yeah, Buttler should be the key. And if, as Ajay says, if he's there in the 16th over and it's the power play Buttler, then the match is done already.
Done.
Yeah.
You were saying, Ajay.
No, I was saying we'd only be able to do that when he does that ramp and doesn't miss it and gets bowled. If he's successful, then we'll give him a name. If it doesn't succeed, then we'll have to think of a name.
Fair enough. Either way, we've got to give it a name. The Dil Scoop had a name no matter whether it came off for him or not, but it did come off more often than not. Key player, and okay, we've said Buttler. In the absence of Buttler, I want one name from both of you, Ajay, Michael. In terms of a run chase, if it were to be a successful run chase, who's the key for you in a Buttler-less environment? Ajay?
Sanju Samson's obvious one, but I'll go for David Patikal. I think Patikal will also be a key because it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a chase with 10 wickets in hand or something. It will get tough at certain times, and it'll depend on how Patikal plays.
All right. If there's no Buttler to provide the service, who does it?
Samson, the skipper. He's got to produce.
Fair enough. Samson to step up to the plate. DDP to do it. There's Jaiswal up front. Shimron Hetmyer, let's not forget, he's due a few runs. Looked very keen in the field, throwing himself everywhere. All in all, the Rajasthan team seems to be eyeing a target. Can RCB pull it back and keep their hopes of that elusive first trophy alive? Rajasthan, remember, won it way back in 2008. Quick number to finish with, given the fact that it didn't quite fall in range as we would have liked. Ajay, power play score for Rajasthan, because this is going to be an interesting one. How hard do they go? Do they play conservatively? Which butler will turn up?
I don't know. 41?
All right, 41. Seems
I'll
nice.
go with
Average-ish kind of score.
Yeah, they'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I'll go 44.
41, 44. Can they go higher? 6 into 8. All right, I'll go 49. 49. Just one short of 50. 49. Jaiswal's not going to die wondering. And I just have a feeling it might just be, if as Michael Vaughan said, if he's able to play one of those ramps and trust the bounce, then he could just get going. We'll wait and see. 10th over will be very telling. If they're in a good position, it's going to be hard for RCB to come back from there, even with a Harshal Patel at the back end. For now, on Cricbuzz Live, from Ajay Jadeja, Michael Vaughan and myself, that's all we have. We'll see you in about 9 overs and 4 balls time.